Hello everyone, welcome to Monza for the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine season finale. 9 rounds completed, just one more to go. 2 races coming up for you this weekend. And as you can see in the air, cloudy skies, rain is in the air. Hence we have a delayed start. This has been declared as a wet race, meaning the drivers and teams are free to choose which tyres they start the race on. Well, my name's Chris McCarthy. As ever, it is an absolute pleasure to be calling the action for you. Let's go live to the grid to hear from our pole sitter.
Hi, Adrian. Congratulations on your pole position. It's starting to rain. First of all, how do you feel driving in the rain? It is a really important race for you because you are battling for the second position, the championship.
Yes, very good qualifying. I think I am quite lucky to start from pole position, even if there is a bit of rain. I will be the first driver to open the track, so I will have a clean vision. I think it's the most important in this condition. So yeah, let's have a good start.
Thank you.
Good to hear from Adrian David there as the cars make their way now up towards the grid. It looks like Paul Aron's gone for slicks. It looks like most of the field has gone for the slick tyres here, but some towards the back, you never know, might just gamble for wet. Okay, let's go down to the grid now to hear from Gregor Sorsi.
Hi, Gregor. The title is in your hand, so nothing to lose. What will be your approach?
Yeah, for sure, I have nothing to learn, but I have nothing to lose, so I will try to do a good start and see what happens.
Thank you.
Indeed, let's see what happens. And so there are the cars on the grid. 35 cars on the grid in total. It was due to be 36, but sadly, Dexter Patterson was forced to withdraw from the race, and we wish him all the best. Dexter, if you're watching, we really are missing you this weekend, and we really hope to see you back with us at the next season. Well, there you can see all the cars are lining up. Let's start with our pole sitter. Is it going to be dry when Adrian David leads us down towards the first corner for the first time? Let's find out. He is on pole for the very first time this season. He is fighting for second in the championship with Paul Aron. After a bad weekend at Mugello, he's just 2 points behind Paul Aron, but he starts 11 places ahead on the grid. Here is Gregor Sorsi, 10 podiums, 8 wins for him this season. Can he add to that tally even further? Starting on the inside of row 2 is going to be Franco Colopinto, winner in the Formula Renault Euro Cup here last year. Franco Colopinto had a big crash in Friday practice 1. Missed FP2. The mechanics were up till 2 in the morning fixing the car, and he qualified P3. Gabriel Bortoletto matching one of his best qualifying results. He's going to be on row number 2, looking for his second podium of the season. He had just 2 points going into round 7 at the Red Bull Ring. Absolutely fantastic what he has done. He now has over 50 points as we now go next to Andrea Rosso. This is his best qualifying results of the year. Andrea Rosso starts this one in 5th. Alongside him, the man leading the rookie standings so far is Isaac Hadjar. He leads by 11 points ahead of Gabriele Mini, who starts just a couple of places back. Isaac Hadjar hoping to secure that rookie title this weekend, but he's not going to have an easy task on his hands at all. Alongside him is going to be his R-Race GP teammate Zane Maloney, and here is Zane. Said he got a little bit delayed by traffic, but Zane Maloney said to me he wants the rain. He really wants the rain to come. The driver from Barbados hoping to end the season on a high, sits 4th in the championship. Patrick Pasma, a much-needed top 10 result in qualifying for him. He's going to start this one from 8th place. His best result so far this season, 5th. Does love this circuit, and that is showing so far. Gabriele Mini, he needs to chase down Isaac Hadjar. 11 points for him to chase. Gabriele Mini just looking to try and fight with Isaac as much as possible. A home race for him, of course. Here comes Alex Quinn then for Arden Motorsport. He will round out the top 10. Alex Quinn, who took pole here last year in the Formula Renault Euro Cup and took a podium He's going to round out your top 10. Coming next is Dino Begenovich. The in-form man took his first podium back at Mugello, finishing second in that second race. A disaster in race 1 after a first corner incident, but made up for it in race 2. Then we have Aron, one of the quickest drivers in practice, but for whatever reason, it just didn't work out for him this morning. And Aron has left himself with a bit of work to do. Starts outside the top 10. Mari Boyer will start in 13th place. Was set to be very quick. He was 8th fastest on all tyres in practice, but again, just didn't quite work out for him. Then next comes David Vidales. 1 or 2 issues with the car. Said he got lots of delays in traffic in qualifying, so didn't really get a chance to get a good time in. Coming after that is Michael Belloff. He is probably the fastest man off the grid in this championship. So watch out for the Russian when the lights go green very shortly. You can see drops of rain. Drops of rain are on the camera lenses, they're on the cars, they're on the visors. It's going to be incredibly nerve-wracking for the drivers when they make their way down towards turn number 1 for the first time. There has been no wet running all weekend. And there are lots and lots of drivers, including the likes of Mari Boyer, who are here for the very first time. No testing or anything. So if it rains, then they are going to be learning as they go each single lap. It's going to be an absolute cracker. Get comfortable, because we have a 30-minute race coming to you. The Italian F4 cars were out earlier for their first race, and it was an absolute cracker. Went all the way until the last lap. If it stays dry or if it's wet, I think we're going to see something similar here. Look at all the cars lined up. 35 of them in total. We'll go through the full grid very shortly. For a championship that's in its first year, to have 35 on the grid at the last round, I don't think that's a bad effort at all. Let's go through it in its entirety. David and Sorti, row 1. Colopinto and Bortoletto, row 2. Rosso and Hajar, row 3. Maloney and Pasma are on row number 4. Just outside then, rounding out your top 10, is Gabriele Mini and Alex Quinn, Dino Begenovich and Aron, row 6, Mari Boyer and David Vidales, the 2 Spaniards, are row 7. Then we have Michael Belloff and William Alatalo for Arden Motorsport, row number 8. Row number 9 is Francesco Pizzi and Sami Megatunov, Delano Vanhoff, the wildcard, alongside his countryman Kaz Havercourt. Pietro Deligoanti could be one to watch from row 11 with Dudu Barrichello. Then it's Nicola Marinangeli going well this weekend. He's on row 12 with reigning champion Gianluca Petikov. Callum Hedge, the Kiwi, is going to be on row 13 with Emilio Pescia. Alexandra Bardignon and Ido Cohen are row 14. Row 15 is Nico Gola and Oliver Goethe. Tommy Smith and Consta Lapalainen back in the championship on row 16. Axel Noss is on row 17 with Lorenzo Fluxa, who had a brake issue in qualifying. Lena Bula rounds out the field. What do you do then? Well, I tell you what, I was speaking to the drivers earlier. Lorenzo Fluxa said, if there's a hint of rain, I'm going to gamble. And he said, I'm going to stick the wets on. So, interested to see what tyres he has gone for, because it is open choice. And I see now the mechanics are leaving the grid. So that's it, decisions have been made. Tyres are on the cars, there is no going back. And it's declared a wet race, so we're not going to stop the race. If it starts raining, they are going to have to come into the pits at their own accord. I do not see any wet tyres, but commentary position is just over Hadrian David to the right of screen, so I will keep an eye out as they go off on their rolling lap and see if I see anyone on wet tyres. I think if there was, the cameras would have probably picked it up by now. But this is it, there's no going back. If it rains, then we are going to be seeing that pit lane getting incredibly busy. I remember at Mugello seeing Van Amersfoort Racing doing pit stop practice, so the teams do practice, but you've got to remember they do not have as many mechanics as they do in Formula One, and they have more cars. They have 3 cars. Who would benefit from that, I tell you what, is Pietro Deligoanti, because with Dexter Patterson going home, he has all of Dexter's engineers and mechanics essentially working on his car as well as his own. Seeing them set off, I don't see a hint of a wet tyre just yet. For now, the rain is staying away. But how long for? Because the forecast, the guys at KIC told me the weather maps are suggesting rain between 2:30 and 3. It's 25 minutes past 2. So that would suggest rain potentially in 5 minutes. And when it comes, it won't be going away for a while. That's what the forecast is suggesting. Tomorrow looks set to be a washout. There is no wet tyres out there at all. Everyone's gone for the slicks. No surprise. Look at the track. It's dry as anything. We only have had one wet race so far this season. That was at Spa. And Belloff won that from David and Maloney. Saucy came through to 8th after a bad qualifying. Championship-wise, Saucy is our champion, but there is a fight for second going on. Paul Aron is second on 171 points. Hadrian David is third on 169. Zane Maloney fourth, 149. Colopinto fifth, 126. Then it's Hajar on 123. Mini on 112. Belloff on 110. Quinn on 104. And Vidales on 101. 70 points between second down to 10th. A maximum of 50 up for grabs this weekend. So Aron, David, Maloney realistically are in the fight for second. Every position counts though coming into this last round, because not only are we giving out points for the championship, we are giving out super license points as well. So Gregor Saucy has put 25 super license points towards his license. There'll be 20 points up for grabs for second in terms of super license, 15 for third, 10 for fourth, 7 for fifth, 5 for sixth, 3 for seventh, 2 for eighth, and 1 for ninth. Obviously, you need a select amount of those to be able to race in championships like FIA F3, FIA F2, and Formula One as well. So you need to rack them up as much as possible. Hence, you see drivers doubling up sometimes and getting themselves busy in the winter. But Saucy has done a very good job to get himself those 25 points up for grabs. Next year's calendar has been announced as well, by the way. We're going to start this season back here at Monza on the 23rd and 24th of April. Back on the calendar is Monaco. We're going to be back there for the Grand Prix next year. And we're going to be at the Spa 24-hour. We weren't there this year. We will be there next year. However, we have to finish this year first. And starting on pole position for the first time is going to be David. Let's remind you of your top 10 then. It's David and Saucy, row number 1, Colopinto and Bortoletto, row 2, Rosso and Hajar, row 3, Maloney and Pasma, row 4, Mini and Quinn are row 5. There's William Alatalo. He's done very well at this track in the past in Italian F4. He was a race winner here a couple of years ago, so watch out for William in that Arden car. Bortoletto has also had a couple of podiums here as well. He starts on row 2. Colopinto was the winner in Formula Renault Euro Cup here last year, so watch out for him as well. He said, I'm starting in the best position. He is the second car to the right of screen. Third is pole in his words, so let's see what he can do from third place. I think the 35th and final car of Lena Bula is now in position, so the green flag has gone up. We are about to go racing here at Monza for the first time of the weekend. To the right of screen is Hajar, to the left is Saucy. We are go in Monza, and a good start there for Colopinto, immediately tucking in Marin Angeli there, going off the circuit briefly. Colopinto to the right of screen now tucks back to the inside. It's side by side with David and Saucy into turn 1, and David just about holds on, but Colopinto gets himself up into second place there. 1 or 2 cars skipping over the curbs in the background, but other than that, we have a clean start. We have 35 cars through the Rettifilio nice and safely, and now we make our way down towards the Roger chicane. It is David leading the way, Colopinto looking to the outside there, under braking in the background. Bortoletto trying to dive down the inside of Saucy in the blue and yellow colours. Someone going over the curb. That was Paul Aron. We have someone on the gravel as well. Aron's run wide. Begenovich has got up into 5th place, I think that might be. So a little bit of a coming together there with Aron, and he found himself on the gravel. So it's the number 17 of Dino Begenovich, who has all his sponsors here with him this weekend, and so far so good for him. Maloney tucked in behind him in the 22 rather. There's Van Hoff, who was just briefly pulling to the outside in the 77, but it's David who leads as we come in towards Ascari now for the first time. You can stay pretty close in the Freca cars here. No tyre wear way around this circuit either. Everyone telling me it's going to be a 30-minute qualifying session turned into a race, essentially. It's going to be flat out all the way to the line as we now come down towards the newly named curve at Alboreto for the first time. Is our leader, Hadrian David, going to be safe going down towards turn number 1? Has he got enough of a gap? From 1.5 seconds, you can pick up a toe. From half a second, it increases very significantly as we make our way down towards the chicane for the first time. Zane Maloney in the 22 there in the black and white R-Race GP, pulling to the outside of Begenovich. Colopinto has got the toe and has kept himself in second. Saucy going briefly onto the grass there. Then it is Bortoletto in fourth, Hajar in fifth. There is Vidalis trying to get down the inside through the chicane, and he's made the move in the process. I think he's put Pasma onto the gravel in the ART there. So Pasma, I think that was in the white ART, onto the gravel out of the first chicane as we now come through Curva Grande. Someone having to give back positions. It's one of the R-Race GP drivers as we come in towards the second chicane now for the first time, up towards the Lesmos. And so far, so good for Hadrian David, who leads the way. A couple of the Van Amersfoort drivers going side by side there, but a nice clean start overall. I think Andrea Rosso was the driver that was caught up in the incident that involved Paul Aron. Those two went side by side in towards the Roggia chicane, and it's appeared Aron came out on the gravel, and I don't think Rosso appeared, so a real shame, because that was Rosso's best qualifying of the season. Though round the outside, Maloney, I think that is getting a move done on Bortoletto. Hajar going round the outside in towards Ascari. There is Rosso, suspension damage to the front right of that car, and he is going to go no further. What a shame, but what a move that was from Hajar. Went round the outside into Ascari. Now he's under pressure from his teammate Zane Maloney, who's in the fight for second in the championship. You've got to be careful of track limits out of that final corner. All four wheels over the white line, classes as track limits, as we are now. Bortoletto, it is to the left of screen here. This is your fight for fourth place. We can be 3 wide going down to the chicane. To the far left of screen, Maloney finds the inside on Hajar. Bortoletto trying to sneak down the inside of the pair of them. It's the teammates side by side. Maloney to the inside, Hajar to the outside, and Maloney gets fourth place. Good driving there from the Barbadian driver. Gets himself now up into fourth position, and that's put Hajar under pressure now from Bortoletto. Behind that is Begenovich. Quinn behind that as well in 8th place as they come up towards the Roggia chicane now. Are we going to see any moves made in the background? I think I saw Begenovich trying to get down the inside of Bortoletto there, but Bortoletto still has that position ahead of Begenovich. But for how long? Begenovich into Lesmo 1 in the Prema car there, down the inside. Bortoletto being brave on the outside. Colopinto briefly into the gravel, but recovers. That's going to hand an advantage to David. He's going to have a bit more of a gap now as they come down to Ascari. Quinn is under pressure from Vidalis, so battle for 8th starting to form there up towards Ascari, and Colopinto is managing to stay close but can't make any moves. Here comes Begenovich round the outside of Bortoletto. Change for 6th place. Good driving from the Swede there. Those two having a really good battle. Looks like Mini is out of the race. Rear right suspension damage, and Mini, who is fighting for the rookie title, unfortunately out of the race. Well, he's 11 points behind. Hajar would score, let's see, looking at the points table, Hajar would score, he's in 5th though, he'd score 10, so no, it wouldn't be rookie title confirmed just yet, but it would make Mini's life very, very difficult. We'll talk a little bit more about that throughout the race. The rookie points are determined by overall points, but I think we might have a change for second. Saucy thinking about a move down the inside of Colopinto in the FA racing car there, the grit in the blue colours as Bortoletto with Quinn. Quinn goes round the outside, up the inside into the left-hander at the Rettifilio, but can't get through on the exit then. Trying to come round the outside is Vidalis, so Bortoletto seems to be going backwards. I wonder if he can set that car up for a potential wet race. He seems to be struggling, just needs to get settled down. Those two behind a bit more experience than he has as Hajar goes straight on at the Roggia chicane. Rejoins, he's going to have to give that place, he's going to have to give some time back, so Hajar there is now ahead of Maloney, so he'll have to give that place back as they come in towards Lesmo 2. The two teammates running 4th and 5th. It was Maloney in 4th, Hajar in 5th, unless there was a swap that I missed as they head down to the Ascari chicane now. It's getting a little bit closer between our leaders. The gap was 0.6 of a second. That seems to be closing in ever so slightly. Here's the main battle we're focusing on so far, the one seeing the most action. It's the battle for 7th with Bortoletto leading Quinn and Vidales. Here's a replay of the start then. Very even start from the two off the front row. No one making huge impact at the start. It looked like Maloney made a really good start. Hajar likewise as they came into the first corner. Hajar making his way round the outside to the left of screen and into 5th place. Good driving from the young Frenchman. Now backed by Red Bull. This was an off for Begenovich, was out a little bit further down the field. Of course, 1 or 2 drivers having to take avoiding action. That was Emilio Pesce skipping over the gravel there. That's Petikov in the 11. Oh, so Emilio Pesce was tagged. I don't know if that was Ido Cohen. Certainly came across the front of Ido Cohen's car. Yellow flags are out. I don't know if we have a safety car. If that's just yellow flags out in the first sector, it was the latter, so no safety car. As Aron, who's trying to recover in this race, trying to make some moves up to the chicane. Here's Hajar defending from Maloney. Behind that is Begenovich. I don't know what's happened to Quinn, but he all of a sudden has dropped to 14th place. So Quinn has been involved in some sort of incident there, which has seen him drop down the field. The top 10 is David, Colopinto, Saucy, Hajar, Maloney, Begenovich, Bortoletto, Vidales, Aron, Boyer. Then out of the top 10 we have the likes of Alatalo, Belloff, Havercourt, Quinn, Pizzi, Deligoanti, Megatunif, Pasma, Van Hoff, Gola. So Pasma, another driver to go backwards. We saw him off in the gravel a little earlier in the race. The top 3 are starting to separate themselves now, aren't they? It's, you can see David there has a much more comfortable lead than he did a couple of laps ago. But Colopinto is still not too far back. We still have a race for the lead on our hands. This is far from settled. A long way to go in this race, over 20 minutes to be precise. Saucy in 3rd. Hajar in 4th with Maloney in 5th place, Begenovich 6th. Those 3 all close together. Maloney sandwiched in between the middle of the 2 rookies there. Up towards the first corner we go, and Hajar just getting a little bit nervous, just feeling the need to block off down the straight. Just trying to break the toe anywhere he can. Isaac Hajar from Maloney behind. Then Begenovich, 1 or 2 moves being made up in the distance. What have we got going on behind this? Well, Bortoletto has definitely settled down in that blue FA racing car. Here is Vidales in 8th, leading his teammate Aron in 9th and Boyer in 10th. So he's the fight now for 8th, 9th and 10th, making its way down towards the second chicane to the far left. Boyer's looking to the outside here. Aron trying to go around the outside of Vidales. Vidales defends to the inside and manages to hold position. Alatalo in the red Arden car behind that. And it's Belloff next after that as Aron thinks about a move down the inside of Lesmo 1. That would have been brave. Vidales telling me this is the trickiest part of the track, the part where you can make the most time up. You've got to be really careful on the throttle coming through those Lesmo corners. So you get it slightly wrong and you'll find yourself off into the gravel. So you just have to manage that throttle. Don't get too carried away on it. And when you're in a position like he is now, I can imagine that is very easy to do, to just get your foot down and find yourself in the gravel and possibly out of the race. Kaz Havercourt is up into 13th, up from 20th on the grid, so he's kept his nose clean, Havercourt, and now he's staring at a potential points-paying finish here. David is getting his foot down out front. His lead is over a second now. Colopinto probably needs a safety car here to close his gap back down. I mean, he's still got a long way to go, but at the moment, David really controlling this race. A little bit further down here is Aron with Boyer now behind, so Vidales has relieved that pressure, and now it's going to be Aron, the one under pressure to the far right of screen. You can see them side by side. Oh dear, Boyer off the circuit there, has to go straight on. Boyer just ran out of room, it seemed, and had a bit of side-by-side contact with Aron. And unfortunately, he's going to lose a lot of positions there. Alatalo goes through, Belloff goes through, and Havercourt goes through as well. So Boyer just nowhere else to go but the grass, and then off the circuit. He may lose a place to his teammate, Francesco Pizzi, as well, coming into the chicane, and I believe he does. Well, that has allowed Aron to focus more on going forwards than going backwards. Let's have a look at the replay. Look to the far right of screen. There you can see, in my eyes, it just looked like Boyer really had no other option but to go straight on there. So there's a chance he might not be entirely happy with that one. But it was at the angle we had wasn't a very reflective one, was it? So I guess we can only talk about the results rather than the actual incident itself. Okay then, David feeling a little bit more pressure here. Has Colopinto been closing down? The answer to that question is yes. The man flying though is Hadjar. He was once under pressure from Maloney. Look at him there in the 6. There's the 26, the car directly behind in the 6. Hadjar is closing in on the fight for second place here, and now is very much part of this lead train really. In the background, Maloney under pressure from Begenovich. Bortoletto next after that, then it's Vidales, Aron and Alatalo. Here is Vidales, Aron and Alatalo. Coming for them though is Belloff, who is currently sitting in 11th place. Through the chicane we go, and Saucy I think is going to be patient here. Doesn't want to get carried away, doesn't want to see David run away with this one. That's Quinn going down or defending from Sami Megatunev, the wildcard, who's going very well in 15th place, it has to be said. A shout out to Nico Gola as well. He's got himself up from, see Nico Gola started a little bit down the field, and he's found himself moving up the order. Boyer has picked up damage, and that is him out of the race, unfortunately. Real shame. He was going along very well there, was Boyer, up until he incurred that incident. And that's a real shame for him. 29th on the grid. I finally spotted him, Nico Gola, that's where he started. So he's made 11 places in this race, and he's up into 18th. Good going. His best result so far this season is 19th, so he's on for a PB there, the KIC Motorsport driver. Through Ascari, and now down towards a corner we know as Parabolica. And I tell you what, fight for second is on here. Saucy got a good toe from Colopinto. Saucy to the right of screen, maybe ahead by the time we reach the braking zone, and he is. So changed for second place there. Look at the gap though, it's halved. If these two work together, they will close Hadji and David down. There's no two ways about that. So I don't think Colopinto is going to mind losing that position. I think he's thinking, right, let's work together here and close down David. In the background, though, I saw Maloney. There you can see to the left of screen, Maloney defending from Begenovich. That's Colopinto in the blue and orange colours defending from Hadjar. Hadjar looking to go around the outside. Colopinto says, no, you don't. Far too experienced to allow that to happen is Colopinto. Top-seeded driver from the Formula Renault Euro Cup that returned to the series this year, raced here in the European Le Mans series as well a little bit earlier this year, so Franco knows this place very well. We are halfway through this race now. Incidents involving cars 7 and 9 will be investigated after the race, so looks like Noss and Hedge have had a bit of a coming together, and that one's going to be investigated after the race. Also an incident involving Nico Gola. Oh dear, Colopinto off there into the gravel, and Hadjar's going to go through into third place. So Colopinto, a bit of a mistake, and in the background, Begenovich has done the same thing. Is there spots of rain out there, I wonder? Because all of a sudden we've seen two drivers caught out at the exact same corner, and it's seen Colopinto drop to fourth, and it might see Begenovich drop a position, and it has. So he's now down into 7th place. Is the rain on its way, I wonder? That could answer those questions, but for now we'll just call it as we see it. Hadjar is into third. Up ahead though, David is becoming more and more concerned about Saucy. Is Saucy going to be close enough? If you're half a second behind, then you've got it. Oh, there you can see it's exactly what we were talking about. Colopinto just getting a little bit too trigger happy out of Lesmo 1. and that just looked like Begenovich understeering in the drag of Maloney there and running straight on. This is Delano Vandenhoff, I think just hitting the brakes a little bit too hard in avoidance of contact, finding himself exiting stage left through the chicane. This is the Bortoleto and Begenovich fight. I tell you that if they start working together a bit, they could close in on these top 5. They just need to minimise the amount they're losing when they're swapping positions. They'll both want to move forwards, but they both are rookies as well. So every position they're fighting for counts into the chicane, and they can see Bortoleto not fighting that one too hard, so maybe this has become a let's work together tactic. Up to Lesmo 1 we go. Just over 10 minutes to go in this race. We've had someone receive a penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Ah, no, that's number 2. Nico Gola has received a penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That must have been on his way out onto the circuit. Oh, what a shame. Nico Gola, who had made over 10 places, running in 18th, and unfortunately, he's going to have to take a drive-through. Real shame. Alatalo's just lost a couple of places as well. I'm not too sure what's happened to him. Briefly off the circuit, I think that was, but he got a feel for Nico Gola there. Let's go back to our lead battle because it is starting to intensify. Out of the final corner, David leading Saucy, leading Hajar, Colopinto, Maloney, Begenovich, Bortoleto, Vidales and Aron. Belloff now rounds out the top 10. David being closed in here, Saucy within that 4/10 when the gap will go in almost an instant. That's Pitsy in the black and orange Van Amersfoort colours there, under pressure from Havercourt, Alatalo, Quinn and Megatunif, also closing in on that as well. Saucy unable to make a move on David, but it's starting to get closer, and as soon as these two start fighting, the rest will come into play. Oh, there we go, bit of a moment for David coming through Curva Alboreto. Through the Rogier chicane, and now up towards Lesmo 1 we go. It is very close between our top 2. When does Saucy make his move? Where does he make it is the question, and Colopinto's off again in the background. We've got to remember he was... drive-through penalty has been cancelled for Nico Gola, so all Nico Gola fans can take a breath, and he's back in the running again. So clearly that was a bit of a mistake on the systems that have seen that flagged, but it has been seen by race control and corrected straight away. Who's this running off? That's going to be Oliver Goethe, who's had to go straight on at turn 1. Struggling a little bit so far this weekend in terms of qualifying. Oh, there's Bardignon giving Fluxa a polite nudge coming through the first chicane. Up towards the start-finish line, and Colopinto, with that mistake at Lesmo 1, has dropped away from the top 3, so it's become a 3-horse race for the lead now. Up towards the first corner we go. There is Vidales rather in the toe of Bortoleto, so he's closed that gap down to Bortoleto, and Vidales can, for the first time in a while, start thinking about moving forward rather than backwards. So far this race, he's found himself looking in his mirrors, but now he has a chance to look forward and make some positions, because he's closing in on Bortoleto, who's on your screen there as they come round Curva Grande and now down towards the chicane. 3 for the lead as we hit the Rogier now. Who's your money on out of these lot? Any one of these 3 could take this win. You've got to give a lot of credit to Hajar in this race, up from 6th place, and there he is. And he's been very calculated in his decisions.